Hi, hello everyone. So this is the algebra for junior cert, ordinary level. So let's go through all the basics. First of all, let's go through just the adding and subtracting. So in algebra, you can only add or subtract terms that are the same. So let me show you. So if I want to simplify this expression, okay, simplify. That's the term that'll be used in the exam. The only thing I can do is I can add x to x and p to p. So if I add 2 x's and 3 x's, I would get 5 x's. If I add 5p plus 6p, I would get 5 plus 6 is 11p. That would be my answer. That is as simple as I can make it. I cannot add because these letters do not look the same, and more importantly, they don't sound the same when you say the word. X and p do not sound the same. They definitely don't look the same, so I can't add or subtract them. Similarly, if I take a subtraction one, 6x minus xy plus 5x minus 7xy. So again, let's have a look at this one. I need to simplify this one. So I see an x. I also see an x there, but it's stuck to a y. And then I see another x. So if I say these look the same, but they don't sound the same, that's 6x. That's xy. That doesn't sound the same as that. So I can't add or subtract these two. But I can add or subtract x to another single x. So I could pair these two and add them. And similarly, xy and xy, they're a pair, so I can add them. So let's add them. 6x plus 5x. I ignore the negative in the middle because that negative belongs to him. Look, I'm just looking at these two. 6 plus 5 is 11x. And then this is a harder one, so you might want to use a calculator for this one, just to help you. A minus 1xy and a minus 7xy. So minus 1 minus 7 is minus 8. So that's minus 8xy. So that's how you do simplification. So long as they look the same and sound the same, you can add and subtract them. I'll show you with one more. 10p squared plus 6p squared minus p squared minus 10p plus 5p. So let's have a look here. So let's see what I can add or subtract. That is a p squared and that is a p. They look kind of the same, but they don't sound the same, so I cannot add or subtract them. But I can add that p squared to him. And I can also take away this one. So these three can actually be taken together. 10 plus 6, take away 1. 10 plus 6 is 16, take away 1. That's 15p squared. These two can be paired together. So you might want to need a calculator to do this one. What's minus 10 plus 5? And that's minus 5p. Okay, that's it simplified. So that's simplification. Once you've mastered simplification, we're then on to multiplying by brackets and then simplifying. So let me show you that. So in order to multiply something, the best way to do it is to use a box. So let me show you what I mean. Let's say you take 2 and you want to multiply out this bracket, 3x plus 5. There are two ways of doing it. The easiest way, I think, is to create a little box. Okay? So this box, because I have 2 things inside in the bracket and 1 thing outside, this box will have 2 answers. And how do I get those answers? Well, what's outside the bracket is beside the box, and what's inside the bracket is on top of the box. And you notice I'm using the sign on the second value. So in order to fill this box, I just multiply. So I'm going to multiply multiply the row number by the column number. And let me show you what I mean there. Okay, the row number is 2, the column number is 3. 2 times 3 is 6, and because there's an x, you just pop it beside it. The row number is 2, the column number is 5. 2 times 5 is plus 10. And my answer is inside in the box. 6x plus 10. Okay? Do not add to get what's inside the box. Multiply. That will be the number one mistake you make. You will add, you will go 2 plus 3 is 5, 2 plus 5 is 7. No, it's multiply to get the box. That's the trick. Some people will like doing it a different way. They won't use the box. So I'll do the same sum without the box, just in case somebody doesn't like the box. To do the sum without the box, you break the bracket up into 2 brackets. 2 times 3x plus 2 times 5. And do the same thing. 2 times 3, 6x plus 2 times 5, 10. Same way, some of you might like doing it that way. Okay, so that's the simplest way to do a multiplying out of a bracket. Okay, so let's see one in action. So I'm going to multiply out this entire thing and simplify it. So how am I going to do it? Right, I'm going to create a box for this. 1 thing outside and 2 things inside means 2 answers. And the same here. So I'm going to put a 3 on the row and a 2x minus 1 on the 2 columns. 5 on the row and x plus 2 on the column. So what's the trick? The trick is to fill the box, you multiply row number by column number. 3 by 2 is 6, keep the x. 3 by minus 1 is minus 3. 5 by x is just 5x. 5 by 2 is plus 10. And then write down what's inside the box. 6x minus 3 plus 5x plus 10. Now I can see what's left. I can add the x's. 6x plus 5x is 11x. Minus 3 plus 10, that's 7. And there's your final answer. Okay? So that would be the hardest level it will get to when you're just multiplying out 2 separate brackets. Now, where it can get hard is when the brackets are stuck together, like this. 3x plus 5, 2x plus 2. So, there is tricks for doing this one as well. The easiest trick is the box method. I have 4 things, so I'm going to create a box with 4 windows. I will take the first bracket and I'm going to write it as the row. I'm going to take the second bracket and write it as the column. And then we're going to follow the same rule. We fill a box by multiplying row number by column number. So let's do that. 3 times 2 is 6. Now, unlike the previous one, we have 2 x's. So when you have 2 x's, instead of writing 2x, you write x squared, or any letter squared. Now, let's follow this through. Row by column number, 6x, and it's a plus. Row by column number, plus 10x. Row by column number, plus 10. Okay, so now you have the 4 things there. Let's try and figure out a way of making this answer a little bit easier. So, To make this answer a little bit easier, what we're going to do is take the top left number, take the bottom right number, and then I'm going to add the 2 in the middle. These two I'm going to add. 10 plus 6, 16x. And there you have your answer. Done. Okay, we will try another one of these now, just below, just to show you. So, here we go. We will go with 3x plus 2, x minus 5. So, same thing again. I'm going to build a box. 4 windows. I'm going to put the first bracket as my row. 3x plus 2. My second bracket as my column. And then I'm going to try and fill. Row number by column number. 3 times 1 is 3. And then it's always going to be a squared letter. Always. 3 times minus 5 is minus 15, single letter. 1 times 2, 2, single letter. That's a plus 2. And then 2 times minus 5, use your calculator, it's minus 10. And then all we're going to do, top left, bottom right, and then we're going to add these two. Plus 2 and a minus 15 is a minus 13x. And that's your answer. Okay? So, the next thing we're going to have a look at is substitution. Substitution or subbing in. Subbing in. Okay? So, let me show you what I mean. Let's take a sum. 3x plus 5 equals 0. Okay? And I want, well, sorry, we won't bother with the equal 0 bit. Okay, it's just 3x plus 5. And I want to find out what's the answer when x is 3. So what I would do is, and this is very important, you use brackets. You create a little bracket where the x used to be. Everything else stays the same, and you just put the 3 inside. And when you do that, 3 bracket 3 plus 5, you get 14. And that's your answer. I'll show it to you again. Let's go with p, 3p minus 4, and p is 10. So watch. 3, replace the p with a bracket, put the 10 inside, take away the 4, and get your calculator. 3 bracket 10 minus 4 is 26. That's your answer. Now, I'll show it to you on a harder one. Okay? W squared minus 5w plus 3. And w equals 6. So watch. Replace the letter with a bracket. Everything else stays the same. And just put the number inside. And get your calculator. Bracket 6 squared minus 5 bracket 6 plus 3. And you get 9. So that's how you do substitution. No matter how bad it looks, it's easy. We'll do one more really hard one. Okay? K squared minus 3 over k plus 5. And k is 4. So watch. That's bracket minus 3 over bracket plus 5. So I'm going to use the calculator. I'm going to put in 4 there and 4 there. To get my fraction button going on the calculator, bracket 4, close bracket, squared, minus 3 over bracket 4, close bracket, plus 5, and I get 13 over 9 as my answer. That's okay. It's a weird answer, but it's okay. Right. Last thing we're going to go on to, how to solve. So, solving an equation can be very easy or very hard. Let me show you an example. 2x plus 5 is equal to 13. So I'm going to show you two methods of doing this. The one that I've been teaching you and the one that some other teachers might teach you. So you have a choice. Okay? So the way I would teach this would be, I would look at this and I would say to myself, at the very end, I'm going to have x equals some number. So all I have to do is make sure that I can get down to x. So the first thing I see is there's a plus 5, and I always look at the single number, not the number that's attached to the letter, the single number, and I do the opposite. If it's telling me to add 5, what I'm going to do is subtract 5 from both sides. Okay? If I subtract 5 from both sides, that's gone, and that becomes 8. I still have the equals, and I still have the 2x. So now I have a different sum now. 2x is equal to 8. So how do I get rid of a number that's stuck to a letter? Well, you just divide by that number. Always divide. Always divide. So x is 4. There you go. Okay? So that's one way of doing it. I'll show you an alternate way of doing it some people might like. Okay? 2x plus 5 equals 13. Okay? Here's the alternate method. Move him over here. When you move a plus across an equals, it becomes a minus. So now that's 13 minus 5, which is 8. And then move him, he's a multiplication, so move him over, and then he becomes, which is 4. So it's very much the same method, except you can do a lot of this in your head if you want. So I'm going to show you a harder version of this. So here's a really hard version of this. 6x minus 2 equals 4x plus 10. Okay, so in this case, what do I want at the end? I want x equals something. So I need to have the left-hand side just having x and the right-hand side just having a number. So let's do that. How do I get rid of the number I don't want it here? I add 2 to both sides. So now I'm left with this, but I only want x on this side, so I need to get rid of him from here. So I take away 4 from both sides. And then I'm stuck with a 2, so I need to divide by 2, and x is 6. Okay? So I'll show you another one of them. Okay? So let's have a look at this one. Right, so what do I want at the end? I want x equals something. So if that's the case, I can only have x's on this side, numbers on this side. I have a problem here, I have a bracket. We know how to deal with the brackets. We use our little box method. 5, 10x minus 5. So now that sum is actually 10x minus 5 equal to 8x plus 7. How would I get rid of the 5? Add 5. How do I get rid of the 8x? Take it away. So we got 2x equal to 12. Divide both by 2. X is 6. Okay, that one's a little bit harder.